Hi, I'm Liz. Did you ever wear a girdle? Forget Spanx. That was medieval torture devices disguised as underwear. Those are amateur hours. We had girdles. Well, gals, Spanx has got nothing on those girdles. I'm sure you've got your own memories, but let me share mine. Maybe it'll jog a few laughs and groans about what we women went through just to look decent in a dress. So here's my deal. Clem, my husband, and I got invited to a wedding. Now, Clem wasn't the fancy type, so we didn't go many places, where I had to get all gussied up. But this time was one of those times, and I knew dress required. The last time my varicose vein legs saw daylight was when Clem and I threw a surprise anniversary shindig for my outlaws in the barn. Clem insisted I wear a dress, to look like a lady, he said. Let's just say that was not my happiest memory. The minute it was over, that dress went straight to the bottom of the cedar chest the outlaws had given us when Clem and I were churched. So now, here I was, dragging it back out of that musty old chest. Well, other than a few wrinkles, the dress looked okay. The only thing really out of shape was me. I swear that dress had shrunk. It wouldn't go over my chest when I tried to pull it on, and no amount of coaxing would it, get it past my hips, let alone my belly. I finally wrestled it off and thought, well, that was familiar, because it took me right back to my very first prom. Now, that was the night I met my first girdle. My mom bought me, a tight little dress, and I thought if I wore it around the house, it would stretch, like jeans. Wrong. To make it look decent, I had to pull on silk stockings, you remember the kind, with the dark seam up the back. And of course, those needed a garter belt or, a girdle. So there I was, heaving, grunting, holding my breath to the count of 50, flopping on the bed and wriggling like a beached whale, trying to get that elastic contraption on. Finally, success. My tummy looked flat, my hips looked slimmer, and all that extra pounds migrated north and south. North, I had muffin tops, where muffin tops shouldn't really belong, triple E territory. Honey, that's how we got double chins. South, the roll squeezed out below the girdle. I was the only gal in town that had fat that hung, to her knees. And then the stockings. Well, you had to roll them up, jam your callous feet in, and somehow twist like a pretzel to straighten that seam up the back, perfectly straight, or you weren't decent. Now picture this, the girdle elastic straining so hard to contain all of me and supporting those silk stockings. That's where they got the idea for the barbershop pole. I'm telling you, they copied it off of me. How, you ask? I twisted wrong and it was too much for that girdle. It exploded. The stocking stayed hooked to the girdle and spun around my legs like a runaway top. The whole contraption went airborne and landed smack on the chandelier. Well, I let out such a gust of air, I tore a hole in my prom dress. When I looked up, there were two brown things hanging off the light fixture. Well, it looked just like our cow crock after milking. Well, that was the moment I realized two things. My dress needed major repairs, and I was lucky I still had my teeth. So back to the present. After reliving that memory, I decided no wedding was worth it. I politely declined the invite. But gals, I know you've got your own girdle horror stories. Did yours explode? Did you master the back seam? Or did you, like me, just pray you'd survive the night? Share your memory in the comments. I'd love to hear them. Meanwhile, as always, take care. Keep smiling, and here's the secret. Spanx are no better. Bye for now.